This is James Helder for IFL TV in association with Scott's Menswear and Macklin's Gym Marbella. I'm at the press conference today for Kell Brook versus Shawn Porter. With me, I've got Kell Brook's trainer, Dom Ingle. What's happening, Dom?
How you doing?
I'm alright, mate. You?
Good. Yeah, very good.
How did you find the press conference today?
Different to what it is in England. You know, you got a lot on that top table. All trying to make a point and you know, telling you how good they are. I was a bit surprised with Shawn Porter. Apart from asking everybody what time it was, he didn't really have a great deal to say. And sometimes with fighters, you know, maybe that's a sign of things to come. I think he realises, you know, what's in front of him. As much as he's trying to keep a calm face on it, there's nothing like having to face an undefeated, you know, young fighter who has been waiting for his chance for so long. And I think, you know, it's all coming on top for Shawn Porter now. He's realising the fight's only a few days away, and you know, he's going to be in a tough fight.
Eddie Hearn said it best: Ring Magazine #4 versus Ring Magazine #5. Great world title fight, everything on the line. I said I think the magnitude of the occasion seems to hit Shawn Porter a little bit today. You know,
Kell's boxing in front of, you know, 12 and 15,000 people. He's used to the big crowds. You know, he's used to the big event. You know, this venue on Saturday is not a big place. You know, for Kell, you know, it's not going to faze him at all. They're not really a partisan crowd either. So, you know, they've just come to see a fight, and you can see, you know, with Kell, the intensity in his manner, that he hasn't come here to lose. He's come here to, you know, take the title of Shawn Porter. And you know, you can never read too much into anything when you look at people. You know, Shawn Porter looks confident. He's got a smile on his face. You know, and I think he's had a good win against Molinage, and I think sometimes with fighters, that's a bad thing, because he might read too much into that fight. You know, not many people stop Molinage, and just by the fact that he has, doesn't make him the best fighter in the world. So, you know, we'll just see what happens on Saturday night. You know, we've got a game plan. Kell's prepared to the best of his ability. He's 100%, and you know, hopefully on Saturday night we're taking on that belt.
This is the most relaxed I've seen Kell in the build-up to the fight. He's very confident. He seems to look on his face that he knows something that Porter don't. To be honest, he's very calm.
He does, but you know, we've had it for years. You know, talking about this world title fight for Kell Brook. It's, you know, it's always seems to be the carrot on the end of the stick for Kell Brook, and he's, you know, it's been put in front of him so many times, and the guys will tell you in the gym, you know, what they've had to do to drag Kell through those lonely days of waiting for this world title fight and having to fight people really who weren't really on his radar. You know, he just wanted the world title fight, the world title fight, the world title fight. And finally now, you know, he's there. It's not something he's wished for and didn't want. It's something he's wished for and he wants. You know, some guys get to this stage and they realise, you know what, it's beyond me, this fight. I've seen it happen with fighters. But with Kell Brook, it's just a natural progressive step for him, you know, in the way he thinks. You know, I'm going to have these fights and I'm going to, you know, box for the world title, I'm going to win it. There's no doubt in his mind whatsoever that he's not going to win the fight.
You've been around Kell Brook since he was 10 years old, you and your dad Brendan, watching him become the man he is. Did you have any inkling when he was at a young age that he was going to go on to achieve? You know, when he
first walked into the gym, like with any 10-year-old kid, you can't really determine what they're going to do. It's only when they start boxing amateur, you know, how they react when they first get hit in the face. And you know, Kell, whichever way it was, he always rose to the occasion. And I think I've said it many times. You know, I've never seen Kell Brook quit. I've never seen his quit point. You do see it with fighters, but so far it's never happened with Kell. No matter what he's thinking, no matter sometimes when he's gone into fights, not 100%. You know, he's still managed to pull it through and come out on top. But this time, you know, there can't be no excuses. He's had a fantastic training camp. You know, we've been into Fuerteventura in Spain. We've been training in Las Vegas. You know, he's had a good team around him. He's had good sparring. He's had a good diet. He's had a good strength and conditioning program. He's had everything, you know, there for him to do, and he's done it. He's not shirked the task. He's not backed out on anything. You know, he's turned up for training 100%. So hopefully he's going to bring that into the ring on Saturday night.
You guys have built champions from the scratch, from the amateur days, from being young boys all the way up through to being world champions. How confident come Saturday night you'll have another world champion in the Ingle gym?
Yeah, I'm very confident. You know, we're up against it in America. The Americans think they're the best at everything. Well, you know, over the last few weeks while we've been in Vegas, realistically the only person I've seen who I thought was fantastic was Floyd Mayweather. Everything else I've seen, it doesn't, you know, faze me. I don't think the American fighters are better than the English fighters. So from looking at Kell, you know, all the way through, he's had that potential to do it. He's had the breeding, really. You know, he's had the hunger, and even at 28 years old, he's got the hunger. Because when you're training for these type of fights and the routines that you have to go through, if you're not hungry for those type of fights, you're not going to do the training. You're going to cut corners. You're going to not turn up for training. You're not going to stick to the diet. But he's done everything, and to be able to do that for 15 weeks is a hard enough task in itself. You know, the fighting for Brook is going to be the enjoyable part, not the training. He doesn't enjoy training. He pushes himself through it. You know, he drags himself through training. He forces himself into it. But he knows when he gets in that ring on Saturday, the 16th, that he's going to be in the best shape of his life. You know, so Shawn Porter's not getting a second-rate Brook. He's getting the best Brook possible.
Two unbeaten fighters putting it all on the line. He says we're here supporting Kel. Make no bones about that. So wish him the best of luck with what he's doing. On Saturday night, hopefully we've got another world champion.
Hopefully we will.
Dominic, thank you, sir.
No problem.
I'll catch you again real soon.